Hello art teachers. In this video I'm going to go over my scope and sequence for teaching all about color, kindergarten through 5th grade. I'm going to talk about what I teach each year and how I teach it. This is the sequence that I use and it's based on my district curriculum guide. In kinder, we do color identification, primary and secondaries, and basic color mixing. In 1st grade, we put the colors in order on the color wheel. We differentiate warm and cool colors, and we talk about how the color spectrum is different from the color wheel. 2nd grade, again, we're hitting the color wheel. This time we're mixing the colors with tempera paint, and we are also talking about warm and cool colors. In 3rd grade, we talk about complementary colors, and I have them experiment with creating value with colors for the first time. We use watercolor for that. 4th grade, we're hitting value again, this time with pencils, colored pencils and crayons. And in 5th grade, we go a little more in depth with the color wheel, looking at monochromatic, analogous, and complementary colors. And we do our value with acrylic paint. So over the course of that 6 years, they have a good, solid understanding of color and value. This will set them up for going further with art in middle school or high school, or just give them a basic baseline understanding of color. So of course, kindergarten is a lot of fun. We start with color identification, which of course they generally know their colors, so it's just a fun reinforcement of doing something that they already know. We talk about the primary and the secondary colors, and we do a little color mixing. Here are the videos I like to use to set up the lessons. These two are real sweet, soft, basic songs I like. The Storybots Color episode is about 10 minutes long and it's broken down into little segments. So you can start and stop this one, use it for your whole lesson. Or if you have time that you need to fill at the end or at the beginning while you're getting things ready, I really recommend that. And I also like to throw in something in Spanish, just to get my new English speakers on board. Look for this video, Color Games for Elementary Art Teachers, on my YouTube channel to get more detailed information about our kindergarten games. The color sorting is really fun. Basically, I make a color wheel for the table, I divide them into teams, and I have a big bucket of different colored toys and plastic things. And the idea is to take them out of the bucket and put them on the color wheel in the right place. We usually have a color parade as well. I get most of this stuff at the dollar store, but you can just make paper hats or have them hold different color objects. And so everybody gets assigned a color, gets dressed up, and then we march around the room in color order. These are the videos I use when we start talking about mixing the colors. And I do a little Q&A to get everybody on the same page of what colors we get when we mix different primaries together. Then we get to practice mixing our colors using Play-doh. I prefer Play-doh. This would also work with other colored clays. Model Magic will work fine, although, it's not reusable. Modeling clay will also work, but I don't care for the oily residue. It's a very hands-on, literally, taking the two primary colors, mushing and gushing them together, and seeing the result that you get. And even when they correctly guess that red and yellow are going to make orange, they're always delighted when it actually happens. You can see the whole step-by-step on my How to Teach Color Mixing with Play-doh, which is one of my earlier videos. The production quality is not good, but it will walk you through the basic steps. If you're a teacher who likes to incorporate books and stories into your lessons, I strongly recommend any of these. Many of these also have read aloud versions on YouTube as well. The Color Blocked is especially good. In 1st grade, we're reviewing a lot of the same concepts. The color wheel. This time we're going to separate warm and cool colors, and we're also going to look at the color spectrum. I separate these lessons. I don't do them one right after another, just because it's a lot all at once. So when we're doing the color wheel, I cover a lot of the games that we play for the color wheel in my color games video. We look at these same videos that I showed you for kindergarten, and we do a real easy one-day project on the color wheel in which first they color a small color wheel, and reading comes into play here. If I have a student who is not up to this reading level yet, and usually that's just enough to recognize the first letter, but if they're not up to this yet, I will mark, with a crayon in each one of these little slices which color they should color. Once they've done that, then we have a larger color wheel, and I have these pre-cut pie pieces that they put in, and they make a color wheel puzzle. A few weeks after this, we'll discuss warm and cool colors. I do have a video that talks about all the little activities that I do for the warm and cool colors. I've got some good games which are also covered in my color games video. I've got a couple videos I show. This one is really good. I have a game we play where we sort the students by the color that they're wearing. I've got a couple coloring sheets. And this all takes up one class. And then the following class, we play this very fun game where I have prepared index cards, and on each index card I have glued on a prompt with either warm or cool and then some sort of noun. So I might have, in this case, a warm tiger, cool balloon, a warm apple, a cool leaf. I hand them out one at a time, and the challenge is the student has to draw a picture of the thing using the warm or cool color. Again, this is helping reading. If you have a literacy component that you need to fulfill, and of course I read them out loud as I hand them out. As the child brings me one, I give them another challenge. This is one of their favorite lessons. Later in the year, the first graders talk about the color spectrum, also known as the rainbow. This one's a lot of fun too, and I have a video for that, talking about all the games and activities we do. They're all based around Roy G. Biv, and there's a number of different videos you can show. I've got some great spectrum glasses that we use to find the rainbows all around the room. Much like the color game in kindergarten, I assign them colors and we line up in rainbow order. We do some coloring, and for the coloring we use quick sticks, which are so big and vibrant and fun. And I specifically use quick sticks because they can easily be divided with the blue, indigo, and violet. And again, I talk about how I do this in that video. Second grade, we're looking at the color wheel again. This time they're painting it. We're looking at warm and cool again. And this time we are doing a big project where we combine this with geometric and organic shapes. We do the geometric shapes with the warm colors and the organic shapes with the cool colors. For the color wheel, this is their introduction to tempera paint. The first thing we do is we draw this color wheel. We do some tracing and use the ruler and divide that into 6 sections. And I only give them 3 colors of tempera paint and little dishes to mix. So the first thing you have to do is lay down that red, blue, and yellow. And then I talk about mixing, not mixing on the paints, but mixing separately in a separate mixing dish. And then they get to mix those colors and place them in the proper place in the color wheel. So after they've finished the color wheel, the next class we just free paint, and I give them the whole set of colors for that, but still the mixing dish so that they can practice mixing colors. We also revisit the warm and cool colors. And like I said, we're using the prior knowledge from first grade of the warm and cool colors to use that in combination with geometric shapes and organic shapes, and done together. This makes a nice display of contrasting artwork, and it's a good opportunity to use different materials. I always use markers, pencils, and crayons on the warm geometric. The cool organic, I've experimented with oil pastels and chalk pastels. I've done some on Sharpies on clear plastic. Sometimes we use colored glue for a textured effect. Really, there's lots of different things you can do here, and I do have a video that goes through this in more detail. Third grade gets complementary colors and the value scale. Third grade complementary colors, we have some exercises and reviews to introduce them to the concept. And then I just let them have some open studio, give them a challenge that they can make any kind of art they want. They can use the drawing or collage. I've got some coloring sheets. You can see I've got some stickers. Basically anything in our open studio area, but they need to do it in complementary colors. So it's not really a fully developed project. It's just one more step in the development of color theory. And then we start hitting value. Third, fourth, and fifth grade, I start hitting value much more specifically. I may have spoken about light and dark previously, but we really get into making the gradients of color starting in third and then fourth and fifth. So we play the value song, the Scratch Garden value song. And then before you can paint with the watercolor, you have to pass a test. And our test is making a value scale, which I demonstrate on the document camera. And I also use this as an opportunity to introduce a lot of other concepts related to using the watercolor paint, using different kinds of brushes, how to clean and dry your brush, how to mix colors in the tray, not on the dish. And then after they pass the test, then they get a week or so to just do free paint. And this gives them the opportunity to test out their new skills. Fourth grade, we're hitting that value again, this time with pencils and crayons and other tools. So you can see we start with this value scale. I have them use pencils, crayons, colored pencils, and markers to draw light, medium, and dark. And this is a sort of a simplified chart. I actually have different versions of this chart that I've used, some with as many as 5 blocks in the gradient scale. I think 3 is enough for 9-year-olds. For the project we're going to be doing, which is going to be still life drawing, we are going to be using pencils, crayons, colored pencils, Crayola color sticks, which are essentially the same thing as colored pencils. We are not going to be using markers because markers only have one value. So I include the marker in this exercise so they can see that unlike the other tools that you can create this gradient of value, marker is not going to work for this. And then we move on to our still life, which we work on for a couple of weeks. Now, I forgot to put it into this presentation, but I do have a video called How to Teach Drawing If You Can't Draw. And in that video, I'm covering what I'm doing here. In 5th grade, we're going to start painting with acrylic paint, and we introduce some new color concepts. Analagous. We revisit complementary because it's been a couple years, and we talk about monochromatic. I've already posted a video that walks you through how I teach this concept. And then we get to use this concept with acrylic paint. What I have them do is choose, are you going to use a monochromatic scheme, an analogous scheme, or complementary? They tell me which color theory they want to use and what color is going to be the basis. Say complementary, red and green, or monochromatic, they're just going to use blue. If they're going to do analogous, maybe they want red, orange, yellow. And I will dispense the paint for them the first time. And of course I include black and white in whatever color scheme, and then they get to paint. Any paint they get the next day or subsequently, I remind them they have to stick to their color theory, and I get some terrific work. And this is really great for 5th graders because it's sort of the biggest project they'll do. And that's everything I know about teaching color. I hope it helps you. And if you want more detail on any of these lessons, be sure to check out the individual color theory videos. As always, I will remind you that I'm posting my entire curriculum online so that before I retire, everything I know will be out there online for anybody who needs it to use, which I think is better than leaving it in the art room for the next teacher to try to sort out. I'm Heidi Howe. Now go spread some color.